Facebook, YouTube, and the internet in general. How are we doing? It is Matt Saunders back with Cult of the Red Barrel, and we are back again with Car Mechanic Simulator. So we're doing career mode. Where did we get up to? I'm going to try and steam through quite a few here, so I'm going to try not to worry about like the video size or the length of it so much, unless we get into a ridiculous point where we're going over an hour or whatever. I'm just going to try and steam through. And we'll see how we go. So, repair exhaust was this last one. Oh yeah, this was the one we wasted a bunch of money, wasn't it? So yeah, super expensive. I'm just going to move the mic. Okay, that'll be okay. There, good. Okay, so we can click our repair order because we did that one, and we'll see what the next order has got in store for us. Hope everyone's well this evening. As I mentioned on my previous Outlast video, it is so hot tonight, it's ridiculous. Literally hotter than hell in here, so I'll be taking intermittent sips of drink. Anyway, I digress. Right, perform a test drive, repair the steering. So, the steering feels really loose. Could you check it? It's an Aisin Cougar, which we've seen before. The steering feels really loose. Okay, let's do our test drive. Yes to the test track. Just turn this down a little bit because that's going to feed back. So, the steering feels loose, does it? Damn straight it does. Whoa. We are rallying, baby. Check them brakes. Nothing wrong with them. Through the slalom. I've got no idea if you can actually knock these cones over. I've never tried, really. It reminds me of like the start point of Driver. Remember that? Where you had to do loads of crazy stunts in that car park. That was nails. Alright, we're good. So we've done our test drive. So that's all good. I'm going to go ahead on this time and do an OBD scan as well. Just in case that picks up anything, because it's kind of like one of those, sort of reasonably vague jobs where it sort of says, it's kind of something wrong with the steering, but it's not telling us what. So, again, the OBD may well pick up something that we would perhaps otherwise miss. So, we've done that, so we can get out of the motor, shut the door. So. Let's get the wheel off first and foremost. One click unscrewing, absolute revelation. Bosh. Right, so what we got here? Let's have a look. Examine mode. Right, so we've got a big red flag there. Power steering rack is red and in pretty poor condition, 18%. Everything else looks good, at least from this perspective. So let's get into that. So disassemble is what we need. Take off our outer tie rod. Stick that in our skyrocket, followed by the inner tie rod, which we can just take off that way. We've got to take off the other wheel as well, otherwise I thought we'd just be able to slide it out, but apparently not. You learn yet again something new with every day. A lot of these Aisin Cougars about, they're very popular motors. We'll take our tie rod, and then our inner tie rod, and finally... Oh, you're going to tell me now that I can't access this from here? What's it attached to? Is it attached to something that I'm not aware of? Doesn't look like I can access it from this area, so I'll lift it up and see if that makes a difference. Try that. Can we get it from here? Yes, we can. So we can just whip that straight off. Should we see if we can repair it? Don't think I will. No repairable part. So clearly we need a new one. What was it called again? The power steering rack, right? Yeah, power steering rack. So do we have anything in the used parts? No, actually, let's not take any risks. Let's just buy a new one and be done with it. Save ourselves wasting money like we did last time. Power steering rack, $1,500. What? Expensive. Okay, well, we've got to do it. So let's just do it. What do we stand to make from this job? 3,000, so okay, you double your money. Which is, I guess, okay. So presumably we need to go from here to put it back on. So let's go into assemble mode, jam that on. We can't mess around with the wheels and the rest of it, and the suspension from that side, so let's just get it back down. Bish bash bosh in a tie rod. I don't think these are side sensitive, so we'll just put our outer tie rod on. Get the ratchet on it, wheel. Dish, dish, dish. Very nicely done. Super. That's one side, and this side we want the inner tie rod and the outer tie rod. Screw it in. Wheel. And that, ladies and gentlemen, should be that. Any parts left to assemble? No. Hit our repair order. We've got ticks against everything. Repaired. So that's not bad. That's like 5 minutes, man. That's pretty good for this, for especially having taken a test drive as well. So I'm pretty pleased with that. So what's up next? Replace fuel pump. Genesis Town. I think this is a first. I was driving on fumes and I think I've overheated my fuel pump. Can you replace it? Overheated the fuel pump. The fuel pump, I think, is back here, isn't it? So let's have a look. Wow, hang on. Fuel pump, fuel filter, fuel pump. Is there a difference? I guess there must be. Fuel pump. Take that off. So what have we got? We've got a 3% fuel pump. Let's just check that repair order again. So what the brief is, replace the fuel pump. So, in the interest of being dangerous bastards like always, let's just check our used car parts. Do we have anything here that's worth picking up for a few quid? I mean, yeah, fuel pump, $64 fuel pump. $64. What do we make from this job? 600. $64. If we take it and repair it, what's a new one? $320. So we might stand to save a bit if it's. I mean, again, we you know, it's kind of risky business. But you know, it's just for fun, isn't it? So let's buy it and see if we can repair it. Hopefully we can. No, see. No, not happening. So I don't really know what the rule is there. Like, kind of, you know, what constitutes a repairable part, and how do you tell if it's repairable? Shout out if you know. Give me a comment or whatever, and let me know how you can actually determine what's a repairable part and what isn't. That would be useful to know. So, put this back on. This is reasonably straight, he says. 100% fuel pump. Alright, we'll just say we've got a spare fuel pump going forward, shall we? If we need to sell it later, we will. No parts to assemble, lower it back down, and check our repair order. Have we got a tick? Yes, repaired. Good. 2 down inside 10 minutes. Replace gearbox. I lent my wife the car for a few days and the gearbox has given up. Could you replace it, please? Well, I'm no social justice warrior, but I lent my wife the car for a few days and the gearbox has given up. Nice one. Okay. No further comment required from me. So we've got a Revton Wind, which again, I think might be a first. I don't know. Shout out if you know. So we have to replace the gearbox. So I think this is potentially quite complicated. So let's get the bonnet up and have a look. So as we can see, this is our gearbox here. We're flashing red. Let's take the starter off. We know we need to do that. I know we've had problems with that in the past. So we also need to take off the, what is it, the drive, whatever these are. Yeah, so let's get the wheel off first and foremost. Because I mean, obviously it forms part of the, you know, the kind of the wheel setup, which is reasonably obvious. So then we take off this. Da, 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 da. Go on the other side. Do the same. Okay, good, gone. And then this one, we've just got one massive bolt here, whatever you want to call it. And then we have the no starter, so theoretically, should we not be able to take this off now? Right, what have I missed? What have I missed? There's no starter attached to it. What have I missed? I've missed something. Ah, yeah, no, I can't take it off from that angle, can I? That's what it is. Right. Disassemble, baby. Right, wow, bunch of nuts. Get that, and that, and that. So. Ooh. Oh, hang on a sec. What do we actually have there? Gearbox, gearbox, gearbox. Where is it? Oh, gearbox 28%, okay. So, the gearbox has given up. Could you replace it? Right, so it doesn't say anything about the other elements of the gearbox which we have messed around with before. Now, something in there doesn't look... can we inspect that? Alright, no, that's okay. Okay, sorry, I think I'm getting confused. Right, we've got to replace the gearbox. So what do we stand to make from this job? 2,500. I'm not messing around with used parts anymore. Let's just go straight in and buy a brand new gearbox and not faff around. So 2,500, but a gearbox is going to be expensive. 2,000, so I'm not really going to make much from this job. Yeah, $500 basically. So it's quite small increments, isn't it? You know, you don't sort of make enormous amounts as you go. You know, progress through the game. Kind of sort of softly drip feeds you. You know, which is fine, I suppose. At this level, you know, they're only reasonably sort of, you know, man about town sort of cars, and you know, not especially, you know, particularly exciting at this juncture. So I guess, yeah, you know, we should quite rightly be earning a reasonably modest salary, which we are. So let's keep it real. So we need to put on our drive axle right, and then all that in, and then our wheel. Good, that's done. I think we're done under there, so we'll pop that down. And then drive axle left. Screw that bad boy in, and finally our wheel. Bish bash bosh, and that should be that. I would assuage. Replace gearbox, repaired, done. Don't give it to your wife next time if she's going to grind out the gearbox. Don't give it to any poor drivers of any gender. How about that? Change the oil filter. Okay, so we've got a Revton van. The last one was a Revton as well. So I haven't changed the oil for a long time, and it has to be done. Eventually, I'll wait here. $200. Wow. So we really don't have much in this job. We want to just whiz through it as quickly as possible. So what have we got? Change the oil filter. Change the oil filter. So that's in here. We know that from before. Take that one out. So we've got a 22% oil filter. Shop oil filter. You're only getting $200 for this. Bear in mind. But it doesn't matter whether we've actually got any in our inventory or not, because when we check the repair part, like, you know, station over there, we had no repairable parts, so it doesn't really matter. We know we can't repair them, so assemble. 100% oil filter, dish dash dash, put the oil filter cap back on, and that is done. So we now need to change the oil. So as I recall, we'll close that, or we'll have to do that anyway to put it up on the thingamabob. Now, as I've said before, this is not the first time I've played this game. I've played it before. I've not played it a lot, but I've played a bit of it. And I did get to this part, I believe, and spent so long looking for the cap for, you know, where you let the oil out. And it took me forever because the brightness was turned down too far, or turned up too far, whatever, the contrast wouldn't let me see the oil filter cap, and therefore I couldn't find it. And I was like, what the hell am I doing here? And it's only because I'd like kind of scanned across it by blind look with my mouse that I finally managed to work it out. But on this occasion, fortunately enough, you can see it just fine. So, he says, bit of a weird angle. So I'm going to take this off, and hopefully all the oil will travel into our little bowl there, which it has. Good job. So then we need to put our cap back on. Oh, is it already on? Don't want to take it off. Alright, don't need to basically do anything there. So we can move this out of the way, all this filthy, dirty oil. Get that over there by the door for the next unsuspecting customer who walks in to get plastered in. Because it's a dirty job. Lower that down. Replace the oil filter already, so all we need to do is pop this open, get into our engine, take the engine oil fill plug off, and pour her in. Alright, good. So that is full. So we'll close, put that back on. Oil refill costs $20. So we've really not made much from this at all, but we've got the job done, and that's the main thing. So that should be done, is it? Yeah. Prepared. Good. So what have we done here now? 4. Replace timing and replace the water pump. Isan Cougar is something we're familiar with. The time has come to replace the timing. My friend advised me to replace the water pump as well. Right. Let's tackle that in reverse order. So, water pump. Where is the water pump? Trying to think about this now. Fuel is at the back. Water must be around here somewhere. Water, water, water. That's the air filter. Throttle. Water pump, where are you? Where are you? Shit, I actually genuinely don't know. This is quite poor, isn't it? Let's just get it up and have a look at the back end. The back end is where it usually all goes wrong. Is it around here? Fuel filter, fuel pump. That's the fuel tank. So it's not here. Where be the water pump? I would like to know. Alright. I think I know. Zoom out here. Is it one of these? Belt tensioner, idler pulley, alternator. Water pump, there we go. Right, good. So it's connected to the timing then, presumably? Well, clearly. Alright, so we need to kind of really take this apart as an entity, really, and then go from there. So before we do, let's inspect everything. So we've got a serpentine belt in dreadful nick. the timing belt's not much better, so let's take those both off. And you can see just from a quick visual appraisal that that everything else is a bit knackered as well. Everything's all brown and manky. So belt tensioner. What have we got there? 25. Water pump. 22. Idle pulley. So does this all need replacing or what? Well, I guess that's the brief of the job. So let's just take it off. So belt tensioner, that's got to go. Then we take off the timing belt. Yes. And the idler pulley. And the water pump. Which is awkward. The only awkward bastard with bolts attached to it. So can we do anything with any of these? Yes, we can. Let's repair that for $115. And the gearbox, we can repair it for $717. And we'd have to sell that for quite a lot more, but let's do that. So, what did we repair there? The water pump. The gearbox is 100%, so if we want to sell that now, it's $1,500. So we just made like $720 odd, I think, from repairing that. So that's a decent bit of business. But do we want to hang on to it? I'm going to say I'm going to hang on to it for now, and we'll see what happens. But we've got a 100% water pump, which is good. So that saved us a few quid. No, I don't want to sell it. So we can put that back on, presumably, and that has saved us money on a new water pump. So that was the first thing that came off. So it will be the first thing to, sorry, the last thing that came off. So the first thing to go back on. So we've now got to put on idle pulley and the belt tensioner, I believe. So we need to go over here to our computer. And we want an idle pulley and a belt tensioner. Belt tensioner, 150, that's pretty reasonable. And an idle pulley. Idler pulley, $100. Good, that's good. What would a new water pump have cost us, just out of interest? $300. I can't remember what we spent to repair it, to be honest, but whatever it is, it saved us some money, so let's just comfort ourselves with that. That's okay. So I need to get new belts as well, presumably. I think I need to mess with the alternator, do I? I don't know. I'll need to get new belts. I forgot about that. So I want a timing belt for 120 and a serpentine belt for hopefully cheap. Serpentine belt for 100. Yeah, okay. Good. I'm kind of not really watching the numbers here. Not sure whether I'm actually making money on any of these jobs or not. Here we go. Timing belt 100%, yes. And then the belt tensioner 100%, yes. And finally the serpentine belt. So that to me looks like a working timing setup. So the only thing now is it might say oh, you need to do something with the alternator as well, but no, we've done it. So that is repaired, baby. So I'll proceed on to the next order. It's a job well done. Wow. Okay, what are we on? 24 minutes. Okay. The car makes horrible sounds when I drive slowly on bumpy roads. So there is something wrong, and we've got to figure out what it is. So it's a Vulcan family from 2011 in a shocking yellow colour. I mean, you don't deserve to be driving on the roads in that. Jesus weeps. You know, the only car that you can get away with driving of that colour is a Lamborghini. Seriously, that is horrible. Deserves to be crushed. Okay, right. Excusing the absolutely gaudy, horrible paint job. We've got to find and eliminate the problem. So let's do an OBD scan and see what that tells us, if anything. So what it's told us is that it's making horrible sounds when driving on bumpy roads, right? So what that's likely to indicate, because it mentioned obviously bumpy roads, it's likely to indicate some kind of problem with like the wheels, the suspension, you know, the axle, the steering, you know, something to do with that. It's not going to be an engine problem. So theoretically, we should have some idea. Should we take it for a test drive? Let's take it for a test drive, see if that tells us more. OBD hasn't really given us any insight, so let's take it to the test track and see what that dredges up in terms of obvious answers. Well, the first answer is it's slow. It's yellow and slow. And not particularly good at handling either. I mean, none of them are, in fairness. Brakes are alright though. Yikes. Listen out for the sound. Okay. So, with a bit of luck now, it should flag up a little bit more in terms of what the potential issue could actually be. So, high show park conditions, that's what we want. Let's get into this. So, what have we got that looks bad? Ah, okay. Over here we have a, what's that, the right side swing arm, I think? So let's go into disassemble. Oh, we're going to take the wheel off, of course. Can we get this off now? Yes, I think we can. So the right sway bar end link right is knackered, essentially. So do we have one of those in our inventory already? No. Only the one we've just took off, and I don't think that's the kind of thing we can repair. No. So it's a new one or bust. So let's get over here. Car parts. Not even going to check used because we've been bitten far too many times with that. Sway bar end link right. Yes. $50. What's our take for this? 200. Alright, that's not bad. It's better than some of the jobs we do. Yeah, assemble. Alright, that is on. Put our wheel back on. Alright, good. And that should be no parts left to assemble, I believe. And theoretically should be the job done. Let's check and see if it is. Finally eliminate the problem, yes. So that's good, man, because that's a good job. That's sort of left it to us to figure out what the issue actually is. And I think as the game goes on, we'll get more of that. So replace air and oil filters, change oil, and check the timing on this Genesis Town from 2006. Jesus Christ. Oh man, we've already talked about the horrible colour of the last one, so let's just move swiftly on. So, it's kind of put me off a little bit there. What was it? I just bought this crappy car, no shit, and I need to make basic maintenance. Replace air and oil filters, change the oil, and check the timing. So, okay. Let's do that in order. So, air and oil filters are both at the front. We know that. So, let's take off this first. And take off the airflow meter. And then the filter cover. Let's inspect first and foremost. 13%. Bag of nails. So we can go ahead and take that off. And then it was an oil filter, wasn't it? Yeah, and oil filter. So, do we have an air filter? We have a gearbox. Can I interest you in a gearbox? Listen, I took your air and oil filters off and I replaced it with another gearbox. Enjoy. Right, air filter, nice and cheap. Oil filter is there, so that's good. Alright, so we can go back here. God, that is so gaudy. Jesus weeps. I mean, I like it, but it's hurting my eyes. Okay. Good, good, good. Screw that in. Job's a good one. Put the airflow tube back on, and that's the air filter done. Oh, didn't need to come out of there, did I? No. Assemble. Good. Right. So that's phase one of the job done. So what else do we have? Change the oil. Okay, we know how to do that. So change the oil. Okay, so we'll get her up on the lift. Go and get our oil pan, container, whatever you want to call it. Hope that's right. Maybe about here. Because you see, if you miss with the oil thing, it charges you a cleanup fee for cleaning all the horrible oil up that you spilt. Oh, we're nowhere near, are we? Oh, maybe a bit more like it. Let's try that. Take that off. Yes! Good shooting, my man. Alright, so take that away from there. Take this back from whence it came. Stick it over here. And oil. So we need to get that back down again. So it'll be $20 for changing the oil. So what we got in terms of cash for this? 500. I've heard worse. Take the cap off. And in we go. Oh. Thirsty, right? Alright, happy days. Done. So that is number 2 of the job done, and then we've got to check the timing. So, is it check the timing? Yeah, check the timing. So we've just got to look at this and see what sort of nick it's in. It's like some parts look a bit haggard. So as before, we've got to take off the belts. 42% on the serpentine belt. Let's have a look at this and see how it's doing. 41. I think we're going to take this off regardless, so let's do that. Nope. Oh, we're going to take this off first. So now we can take... Belt tension is 42%. Timing belt 2%, wow. I just want to inspect these really, I don't really want to get into 41%, that's good enough for me. 41% on that. Crankshaft pulley, well, we can't even look at that, I don't even know what that is. So we'll just leave that. And the alternator, wow, it looks alright. So what was it, the serpentine belt or the timing belt that was knackered? I forget. Serpentine, timing belt. So the timing belt was the one that was knackered. So let's go over here. As I remember, these were pretty cheap. $50 if memory serves. Timing belt, $120. Okay, well, we'll take it. 120. Yep. And put the belt back on, I guess. Yep. And then the idle, is it belt tensioner? Yeah, 42%. I mean, that's okay, innit? You know, I haven't got too much beef with that second-hand car. So that should be that. So no parts to assemble. Close the bonnet, and yeah, that's all done. So happy motoring, happy camp motoring in your ridiculously horrible pink car. Where have we got to? 35 minutes. I'm going to leave it there. I don't know what we made it through there, like 5 or 6. So we're kind of charging through. I think 35 minutes of Car Mechanics Simulator is enough for anybody. So if you've enjoyed this video, please leave a thumbs up and a comment. I do always appreciate it. If you're not already subscribed, please do. And check me out on Facebook and Twitter as well. And as always, I'll see you on the next video. All right, guys. Thanks very much. Have a good night.